Hi, I'm Rob Plevin from Needs Focused Teaching, and in this video I'm going to be talking about one of the most common problems I get asked about by teachers. On my website I get emails every day, and a lot of them are centred around this particular problem: constant chatter. Students talking inappropriately, either using inappropriate words or talking at inappropriate times and inappropriate volumes. Basically just students talking when and how they shouldn't be talking. So it's a huge problem, and we're going to go through a few possible solutions or different strategies that you could try. And the first one is to really take a step right back, and rather than focusing on a problem, waiting for something to go wrong and then trying to find a solution for it, let's see if we can wind back a few steps and see if we can stop that problem occurring in the first place. A massive part of needs-focused teaching is about prevention. It's about preventing problems from happening in the first place, because obviously the fewer problems we have to deal with, the easier our job is. So this concerns your delivery and your lesson content. So it's how the lesson feels for those kids. Could it be that there is something going on there which is triggering them to talk at inappropriate times incessantly? Now, when I first started teaching, I was teaching sixth formers for the majority of the time, and also teaching high school students. And I've got to say that a lot of my lessons were that didactic kind of lots of teacher talk. They were pretty boring, a little bit like this video series actually, just me standing at the front talking non-stop with very little interaction, certainly very little kinesthetic activity. If your lessons are like that, then it might be time to take a step back and look at making some changes. Or look at the type of activities that you're giving your students. Have you got some intrigue there at the start of the lesson to get their buy-in, to get them interested, some novelty, some curiosity? Are you using practical activities for those kinesthetic learners? Are they getting up on their feet and doing things with their hands? Are they perhaps having different types of tasks involving different learning styles? Is there music going on? Are there energizers going on? Are you getting them out of the classroom now and again? Are there things that they can look forward to? Is there a change of pace? All these things are going to lead to a lesson being more interactive, more involving, more engaging, more stimulating. And of course, there's going to be less likelihood of kids getting bored and then talking out of turn. So that's the first thing I would say, is to take a step back. Second is to change your focus. And again, this is a huge part of needs-focused teaching. Rather than focusing on what's going wrong, we focus on the behaviour that we want to see. We focus on acknowledging and praising those students who are doing the right thing. They're giving us the behaviour that we want in a classroom, rather than just focusing solely on those students that are giving us what we don't want. So this is about heaping the praise on the kids who are getting it right, acknowledging them, letting them know you've noticed, telling them how well they're doing, thanking them for following the instructions and behaving appropriately. That creates a much different atmosphere in your classroom. Next, I would try your seating. Now, some teachers favour putting their students in pairs. Some teachers favour putting students in rows. I've got two aspects to this. The first is, by far the most appealing seating plan to students, and by far the most effective seating plan in terms of getting work from your students that I've come across in my experience, is small groups, small table groups of 3, 4 or 5 students. And the advantages of this are many. One of them is that you can allocate roles to your students in those table groups. And one of those roles can be the role of noise keeper or noise monitor. And whenever the noise levels escalate too much, then that student is in charge of that table group and making sure that the talking stops. Another advantage there is that students get to work with other students collaboratively, and they're getting a lot of the attention and the stimulation that they're looking for when they're talking inappropriately. So the noise levels naturally subside once the students are engaged in a task. The other aspect of seating is that you can use it as a motivator and a tool for classroom management. So if Johnny is talking out of turn and he's sitting in his table group, which is rather rewarding and stimulating for Johnny to be part of that group, I can say to Johnny, look Johnny, you're not working as I asked, the noise levels are too high. If that continues, you're going to come and sit on your own in isolation at the front of the room next to me. Is that what you want? It's your choice. So I can have a table or a number of tables at the front next to my desk where the students come and sit if they're making too much noise. And it's kind of divide and conquer. If we take away the noisy students, bring them somewhere where they can be monitored more closely, then you've got more control over it. And the final thing I'll say is a more direct approach. So where we actually actively respond to students who are talking too much. And basically the way I would do this is I would get up close. Sometimes all you need to do is to get in their personal space. If it continues, I might put a hand on their desk or on their book, and then I will give my verbal instruction. You're talking when you shouldn't be talking. If it continues, you come and sit at the front with me for 5 minutes. I'm going to put a timer until 5 minutes. If you manage to keep quiet within that time, then you can go back to your original seat. If not, you'll be staying with me. So it's a very direct approach. The students know exactly what's expected of them and you've given them a fair warning. So there we go. 4 ways to deal with constant chatter and inappropriate talking. I hope that's helped.